Morning everyone and welcome to the News Hub. I'm Simon Constable. We have some developing news on the crisis in Iraq. The US-led rescue of the thousands of the Yazidi religious minority trapped atop a mountain is most likely not going to happen. Why? US says it's not necessary. WSJ's Dion Nissenbaum has been following us and joins us now from Washington. Dion, thanks for being there.
Sure, anytime.
So this was based on the military advisors going on scoping out the extent of the problem on the mountaintop. Tell us more.
So on Tuesday, the U.S. quietly sent about 130 advisors to northern Iraq to try and figure out the scope of this crisis. They were seeing this footage on television of Yazidis scrambling on helicopters trying to get off the mountain. But nobody really had an understanding of how many people are up there. The estimates ranged from a few thousand to as many as 35,000. So overnight on Wednesday night, they quietly sent a small team of about 15 to 20 people, U.S. military, USAID officials. They spent 24 hours in this mountain range to get a sense of the scope of the crisis. And when they returned last night, what they concluded was that the crisis was much smaller than they expected. There were only a few thousand Yazidis on the mountain. They weren't in danger of dying of dehydration or exposure, and they believe that most of them have been able to escape through some routes to the north, and that the crisis essentially has been averted.
Well, that is great news. If indeed all of them can get off the mountain and get to some food. You didn't mention food in there. They're not going to die of exposure or dehydration, but the food situation has got to be less than they'd want, I think, right?
Yeah, and the U.S. continues to drop food and water. They dropped more food and water yesterday. They've been doing this for a week now to make sure that people up there do have the supplies that they need. The assessment team apparently found that there was unused food and water up there, suggesting that they had a surplus. We haven't heard yet from the Iraqis. We don't have a full picture yet. I think people were surprised that this was what the assessment team came up with, and today we're really going to be asking folks in Iraq to see if this is really what's happening up on the mountain, because I think a lot of people were surprised that the crisis wasn't as bad as expected.
And now, Dion, from your story that I was reading before the show, it says that the ISIS would like nothing better than to take pot shots at American military personnel and American military vehicles like airplanes, drones, things like that. So the effort is to get in and out quickly. How likely is that?
Well, I think at this point there won't be any kind of mission to get in and out of the mountain. They did that quietly yesterday on the helicopters. There are some routes right now where they can get in and out without facing serious fire from Islamic State forces. And I think that was really one of the factors here in trying to assess whether to do an operation, because if they did do an airlift with helicopters and these Ospreys, these tilt-wing rotary planes, that they could have exposed themselves to some serious danger, and that had to have been a factor in their decision not to go forward with a rescue operation. Okay,
well, it seems for the time being, at least the Yazidi crisis has been averted. Thank you very much, Dion Nissenbaum with the Wall Street Journal.